Hi guys, I have a market coming up, so I'm going to be walking you through kind of my process for how I prep for my markets. This is my last confirmed market of the season, so I figured this would be a good way to give you a rundown of what it's like to prepare for one of my markets. So I have my notebook here so that I don't forget what I'm saying or what I'm talking about. I'm going to break things down into 3 categories. The first one is essentials. So these are non-crochet related items that I bring to every market. The next category is crochet items. So this would be my inventory, anything that I hand make or crochet to bring to the markets. And I'm going to go over the patterns that I use as well, and they'll all be listed in the description below. And the last category is pricing. So I get a lot of questions about how I price my items and if I price to sell or price to make profit. So I'm going to go over all those things within this video. So let's get into the first item on my list is a tent. And you might think to yourself, I don't need a tent. The weather's going to be nice. I don't care. You're wrong. You're wrong. At some point you are going to want a tent, whether it's a little bit of rain or the sun is really hot and it's just beaming on you and you feel like you're going to pass out because of how hot it is. You're going to want a tent, especially if your market is outside. If it's indoors, that's a different situation. I don't remember which one I used, but I will leave it in the description. It makes a world of a difference. Trust me. So for me, I like to lay everything out, especially when I have so many different things in my inventory. It just makes things easier for the customer to shop and not be so overwhelmed by all the different things. Because let's say you put everything out on a table, it's going to be a little confusing. So having at least 2 tables is ideal for me. I kind of usually have it in like an L shape so that it kind of creates like a little corner so that people can go and shop and not have to like weave between tables, if that makes sense. Along with tables, you want some tablecloths, and if you get some from the dollar store, that's entirely fine. If you want to use a sheet, that's fine too. I like to get the ones that wrap around the legs of the table because it just looks good on your display, and sometimes you don't want to see under the table, especially if you have a lot of stuff with you that you tuck under the table. It's really easy to hide that stuff as well. I have pink ones, but I'm going to experiment with these orange ones I don't have them on me right now, but it gives off a more feminine vibe to my booth, and a lot of men are not interested in walking into it. That might not even be intentional, it just might be a psychological thing. So I'm gonna try orange and see if that draws in more men to my booth, because I do have a lot of hats and stuff that people do ask me about, but they kind of just forget about that when they're walking by my booth and they're afraid to step into it. So on top of your tables, you're going to need some displays. The easiest thing I've done is just going to the dollar store and just looking for containers that hold the things that you want to sell: plushies, keychains, hats. If you're selling plushies, I also would recommend getting like a tiered basket situation. You really want to utilize vertical real estate is what I call it, I guess. Just being able to build up rather than having to spread out, because it just makes the experience better for the customer. Another part of display is clothing racks. If you are selling wearables, it's so much better to have a rack where you can display everything in one spot. Having it on a hanger looks so much better than laying it out on a table. When you have it on a table, it just looks very flat and unappealing to people who don't really understand crochet or like how it changes when you put it on. I would also recommend finding one that collapses very easily. I'm gonna go for the last few things that are non-crochet related. Business cards. If you want to get business cards but you don't really want to spend too much money on them, I would recommend getting them from Staples. I got about 500, but the quality of the paper and the ink is a little bit cheap looking if you have bought from other companies like Vistaprint, but I can't always afford Vistaprint prices. It's not a big deal to just cut corners a little bit. So another way for people to find you is through QR codes. If you're able to, I would just get the little picture frames from the Dollar Tree or whatever dollar store you have and print out the QR codes and putting them in there so that you can display it. This is also really helpful when you have a Venmo or a Cash App or Zelle, putting those QR codes in there and just allowing people to scan it instead of having to pull up your phone and find the screenshot or open the app. But definitely have some of your QR codes printed out and displayed at your table. It just makes things so much easier. Speaking of payment methods, cash is king. People love to pay in cash. Make sure you have 1s, 5s, because people are going to ask you for change. Anytime that I don't have change, I've missed out on some sales. You have like an envelope of cash and keep it on you. I usually have a fanny pack on me or have a backpack that's like right next to my leg when I'm sitting, just so I have easy access to it and no one's like able to just grab it and go. That's another thing. Bring a chair, a lawn chair, or a stool, whatever. You're gonna want to sit, especially if you're standing for 6 hours at a market. You're gonna want to sit at some point. Have your prices listed. Don't expect people to pick up every item and ask you, hey, how much does this cost? Just the likelihood of them wanting to buy it if there's no price on it is very unlikely. I would recommend getting a pricing gun. So if you're doing any sales or discounts, I would also have that listed as well. Lastly, snacks. Bring snacks. You think that you're going to be fine without snacks? Whenever I forget a snack, I have to go like leave my booth to buy something, and that's only if I can find someone to watch my booth. Also bring a water. Part 2, my inventory. This is the fun part. I'm going to be a little more casual. So I have some of these bucket hats here. I have a few somewhere in this bag here. Next, I have some bikini tops that I'm going to have discounted because it's fall now and I want to get rid of these. Like, this is like $10. It's already discounted heavily, but I might just do $5 just to get rid of it, to be honest. Another one here that's also part of a matching set. I've got some shrugs here. This one was freehanded. Most of them are freehanded actually. So this one has the ruffles at the end. Actually, I lied. These are not ruffles. This is a scalloped edge. The one is like a larger size and it's a little more off the shoulder. This one has the ruffles. Love the ruffles, but it's not for everybody. So I like to have variety. I do have some specialty pieces because, you know, sometimes people are looking for something different and they don't want acrylic yarn. I'll have the pattern below. The pattern is by Freaky for Yarn. 2 items. It's just like this granny square bag. Let's get into the plushies, shall we? So for this market specifically, I'm not gonna be making any more plushies because I'm not a fan of making them, but everyone really loves them, and the demographic of the market that I usually am at is a lot of kids and younger people, so they really love the plushies, but they sell so quickly, and I don't know, I just like, my heart's not really in it. So I'm gonna sell what I already have. I'm gonna tell you my best sellers and the patterns that I've used. So these are some of my best sellers. The froggies always go. I think I've sold like at least 50 at this point, probably more. I do them in different colors also because people like different colors. So I have this like light green, this darker green. Another bestseller of mine has been the Mushy Boys. I've done these in blue, green, and pink. I've had some of these fishies. I've done like pink ones, orange ones. These ones take a little bit longer because they do use different colors, so you have to change it, but it's not a huge deal. It just requires more steps. This is technically a keychain, but it's still plush, so these little flower keychains. Another easy one to work up is the chicken. I'll have some pattern. I think I freehanded this one just by looking at a photo, but people really like these. I had some white ones and some tan ones, but this is my last one, and hopefully someone takes them home the next time. Sometimes I have larger plushies as well. This one's like a medium-sized one. It's just a sea turtle. I've done whales before, some bunnies. I've also done the like Jellycat knockoffs. Those ones sold well. They require a little more time and assembly. So I don't make them that often, but people do really love them. But these are super cheap. It's good to have a variety of items at your booth, just so that people can either decide if you want to spend a little bit more, or maybe, oh, I'm spending a lot, but like, what's $5 more to get some keychains, you know? Like AirPod case holders, you can like do that. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of my frogs and my cats, but those are really my top sellers as well. Ducks. I also really like these little octopi. They're so cute. I have a few other colors in there. I'm not going to grab them all right now, but really easy to work up as well, and they just turn out super cute. And you can turn them into keychains if you want also, just by like having a little thing. So the last part of the video is pricing. So this is how I price my items. I'm not saying that this is the right way to do it or the wrong way. I just do it this way because this is how I view my business. I like to have fun with my business, and I don't want to turn my hobby into something that is a chore. So I don't want to feel bad about not selling my stuff. Of course, it's discouraging sometimes when you're not selling the things that you are excited to give to people or to sell to people. But don't take it to heart, because sometimes it just is what it is. When I'm pricing my items, I like to think about a few things. Think about materials, time and labor it took to make something, my demographic, and the crowd that I'm selling to. Whether that's college students, kids, parents, it just really depends on where you're vending. The market I usually vend at is very family friendly, so there's usually a lot of kids. That's why I try to keep my prices fairly low, but not low enough that I'm underselling. Because I still am making profit and I enjoy what I do, but I don't want to turn it into something that I am solely dependent on for money, because that takes the joy out of it for me personally. So let's say my plushies, for example, I charge around $10 for each of the mini ones, and then I also do 2 for $18, so that encourages people to buy 2 to get that discount. For a medium-sized plushie like the turtle, I'll price that one at like $20 to $25, and sometimes like I'll keep it at $25, and then by the end of the market, I'll mark it down to $20. Depends on like what you're trying to get rid of, what you want out of your market. If you're looking to sell your creations and just share that with people, that's fine. If you are just looking to make money, sure, price your things higher, but you have to understand that the crowd that you're selling to might not want to pay that much, and that's okay. Then find someone who does, and that's really like the only advice I can give about pricing. To me, it's subjective. I know what my products are worth, and I'm not going to sell it for dirt cheap, but I'm also not going to sell it for so much that it's inaccessible and outrageous to people. For example, my crochet shrugs. If I'm making it out of acrylic, I'm going to keep it around $45 because it's acrylic. It's not the most extravagant material, but if I'm making something out of cotton or bamboo, I'll probably price it around like $50, $55. And that's fair to me. You also might want to consider how much you have to travel to these markets, whether that's by Uber, by car, whatever. That might add to your costs also. So consider your vendor fee. Most markets that I do are under $100. I've done markets where the vendor fee was in the 200s, $250. So I also have to keep that in mind when I'm pricing my items. So there's just a lot of factors that you have to consider when you're pricing your stuff, but do what works for you, and you're going to find what people are more attracted to versus not attracted to in terms of pricing. So if you're like charging, I don't know, $50 for something tiny like the little plushies that I was showing you, if you feel like that's what your products are worth, then that's fine. But like, you can't be mad at someone for not wanting to pay that much when they can get it from somewhere else for a cheaper price that it's also handmade, if that makes sense. And that's not knocking anyone's business, it's just being very straightforward and honest about pricing. So that's it for today's video. Today was a little bit difficult for me because I had to keep myself from stuttering so much, and also I had to keep a structure versus my usual casual vlog. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I was able to give you guys some tips. If you are looking to start vending at markets, or you just want a little bit more advice and want some new ideas, I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any other questions, please leave them down below. I'm more than happy to answer it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. There's a right over.